Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. My name's Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, it is the one and only Fly Pregame. It is Steve Jaco. What's going on tonight, Steve?
Bam, 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 bam. I am feeling pumped for the Flyers to lose this 2-1 game tonight. Is how I'm feeling.
That's what you feel is coming? Nice low scoring, low event hockey.
I didn't know a ton about the Kings going into this because why would I? They play on the West Coast, and Aleksei Kopitar's been playing there for 1 billion years. So what else did I need to know about the Kings? But I did a little research because I can conduct my own research. And the Kings, the most notable thing I saw was the Kings 78 goals against, lowest in the league. So not feeling great about the offense tonight. Prove me wrong, Flyers.
It is.
Please.
It is interesting. Like, I think it's Darcy Kemper tonight. He's got like a 9-12 or something. Like, he's just been, yeah, why not? And it makes sense. Like, Cam Talbot was there last year, real good. They've been a defensively structured team for 20 years.
Kopitar's won like 100 Selkies.
Yeah, top 5 the last 2 years still. He's 37 years old. Makes sense.
Yeah.
We do have some lineup news for the Flyers tonight. As we surmised, we theorized on postgame last night and really during the watch-along when we saw Cam York not get a shift after about the 8-minute mark of the second period. He's out. It is not Zamula coming out. Andre does draw back in. We see Emil Andre in the lineup, but it will be Cam York coming out tonight and Aleksei Kolosov in. It's the back-to-back. He's been fine-ish. His last start, maybe his best start as a pro, it was against Detroit, the home game against Detroit, 1 goal against on 26 shots. But he's got an .889 overall for the season. He's been up and down. I think he's played better than his numbers, but when you see, 880s, it's like he hasn't exactly killed it.
Not great number right there, but I do feel like he's played better than his numbers. I've liked Kolosov's play for the most part. I feel like he's been solid, especially for a rookie. And he's not like Fedotov, where he's a guy who's nearly 30 as a rookie.
28-year-old, doesn't qualify as an actual rookie.
Right. Kolosov's like an actual rookie
Yes.
who's learning the ropes. Like I like his technique. I think he's he's been a strong player, and he was great in the Detroit game. Like we talked about it. I did post game for that one, and the save he made late in that game, that glove save was huge. So I'm excited to see what he can do here. I don't admittedly know a ton about LA's offense here. I do know that Kopitar's still putting up points for them at, the age of 100, but this is a good opportunity for Kolosov to go out there and show us what he's got again. And I felt good about him. I want to see more. And I did see I saw Jonesy give some quotes about the goaltenders earlier today and just talk about like basically essentially the lack of a backup and everything, like having an established backup. And it's an interesting competition for this team to kind of throw these guys out there and see what they got, because they have so much good young talent in net, either currently here or guys that are coming up, that this is a great opportunity for all of these guys to really see who the cream of the crop is.
Well, now that it's kind of been established, Kolosov 2, Fedotov 3, I've been wondering, like, how set is that? Like, because we saw last year, prior to Carter Hart, leaving, being taken away, basically, Ersson earned more time, and it became a time split. Early in the year, it was all Carter Hart, and Ersson a little shaky. Then once he started to get a few more, and we talked last night, like, he had a .930 from November through January, basically, and then he had to play every game, and his numbers tanked, but he earned those more starts to get into that position prior to the end of the month when it just became the Ersson show. I wonder if Kolosov kind of has that same opportunity, because as much as I want to see Ersson get his shot, because I really respect what he did for the team last year, 6-5-2 with an .884. It's not good. His numbers have not been good. And I did, like, early in the season when he was starting the most, like, numbers weren't good. The team was playing horrible. He had a nice little run, a few games. Then he gets hurt. Now he's still working his way back from the injury. He had to stop and start. I think Ersson is a good goalie. I think he's better than these numbers. But I have no idea what I mean. Like, good goalie, a starter. Good goalie in that tandem role he was in last year. That backup role he was in last year. we have to figure out what he is too. Like, I think he's very much a part of this, even though, yeah, he's the established starter, but it's because they have Fedotov, who's no idea, again, 28-year-old rookie, and Kolosov, who, if they had their way, would just be the Phantoms #1, but it's like he don't want to do that, and they don't have any options. Yeah. Like, so he's just kind of here, and this is what happens when all three of your goalies are a question mark. You don't know what they are.
It's a fun situation, folks. We're all having a fun time here. We're loving it. And yeah, I mean, I agree with you on Ersson, where it almost seems like, well, of course he's the starter, but is he? Like, he hasn't had a full season as an NHL starter. He's had a lot of injury issues to start this season. It's a really good opportunity for Kolosov here, and this is a good team for him to go up against. I mean, they're second in the Pacific right now, I believe, right behind the Golden Knights, who are a darn good hockey team themselves. So this is a good test for the Flyers. I don't feel great about it right now, but they could prove me wrong. They've proven me wrong many a times in my life.
For whatever reason, it's like the Detroits of the world. It's like, I don't know, this is a coin flip.
Yeah.
And then when they play good teams, it's at least a competitive, fun game. Now, sometimes it's the Florida game where they don't come out on top of that, but they look pretty damn good in that game, despite giving up 7 goals somehow. But like, it's a weird, you never really know what you're going to get from this team. They're going to compete, but what's that going to look like? Is it going to be like the Nashville game where, yeah, defense is dope, and that's how they win the game despite not generating anything? They completely limit high danger chances, and Kolosov comes up with a few big saves, and then they can win it late. Or are they going to look good in, we generated a ton of offense, we got 35 shots? We'll see which of those two it is.
I mean, think about what we watched last night.
That was just
sloppy, terrible hockey, but they almost won that game anyway. They had no business being in that game. They barely generated offense. They were lucky that Alex Lyon just was terrible in that game, but ultimately the right team won that game.
Yeah.
The better team won.
Neither team was good. Detroit was better, though. Like,
yes, easily.
Of a couple of teams that it was just like, I don't know, they both look bad.
Yeah.
Detroit they carried, I thought, the majority of the play. Like, you look at the advanced stats, and Charlie was like, at 5-on-5, it was kind of even, and that's where the Flyers, if they're even, they don't have a Larkin, they don't have a Patrick Kane. Like, the best finisher is 20 years old. Like, you don't have enough talent. If you play even with a team, you are going to lose to them. They need to vastly outplay a team and then hope to get a few saves. That's how they win. We'll see what they get tonight. Before we go any further, though, I got to tell you about our friends at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Oh, this is a fun setup for the next topic. We all know how hard it is to win without proper coaching, and if you've got kids, TrueMark is the ultimate playbook for teaching financial responsibility with a free Greenlight account. The Greenlight app is changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely. Probably could have used that. They can set up savings goals, track their spending, and even earn an allowance all right there in the Greenlight app. The coolest part, each kid gets their own debit card so they can make purchases and learn real-world money skills while you stay in control from your phone, so you get peace of mind and your kids get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. It's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game, and for TrueMark Financial members, it's free. With the holidays right around the corner, now is the perfect time to introduce your kids to Greenlight. Get signed up today. Visit TRUMARK.com/Greenlight for more information. And that brings us to the defense conversation tonight. Andre back in. We've been waiting for him to get back in. But as we said, it's not Yegor Zamula. It's Cam York. Listen, he hasn't been good the last few games. Really bad turnover, gets benched. We talked about this on post-game last night. Like, I wonder if this is how Andre gets back in. It's not who we think. I'm fine with it for a game. But Cam York is, while not a prospect, still very much in the developmental stage of his career. Now, if this is a mental reset, I think those are, especially with this coach and style of play, perhaps more important for Flyers players than generally around the league. Everyone probably needs a mental reset every now and then. Everyone needs a mental health day with this coach, I would bet. And if you're just kind of stuck in a rut, as John Tortorella said, I think he's just kind of been stuck in neutral the last few games. not the end of the world. It's not your best lineup. Like, your best lineup is Cam York and Zamula out, obviously. But I don't think this kills you.
I don't think this kills you. Would I like to see York in? Of course I'd like to see York in. Zamula has been, at his very best, Zamula's been
fine.
Yeah. Passable. Like, oh, I can play at an NHL level and not be a complete screw up, something like that. I'm excited to see Andre back in regardless. I think Andre has been one of the biggest breaths of fresh air for this team throughout the season. I've been very excited by his play, what he's done on the power play. Just in general, I think he's been a firecracker in there. Like, he's actually like played bigger than he is, which is cool. And I'm excited to see him back in there. I thought, what was it, 3 games he was scratched ultimately? Yeah. It was too many. Like, if he had gotten the 1 game reset, that would have been. Torts doesn't like the 1 game though. Even Mish got the 2 games too. And he's like, you got to sit for a couple of days. Right? I can't just sit a guy for 1 game. What is this? Come on.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so he got a little vacation. No, he needs to know that he's being punished.
Yes. But he really needs to like hit him with the newspaper on the nose. I mean, the man loves dogs. So
there is one thing about Andre. Now, since they started using him basically as a second pair, 20-ish minute a night guy regularly, that's November 9th at Florida. With Andre in the lineup, they're 8-2-3.
How about that?
With Andre out of the lineup since 11-9, they're 1-4-0.
There seems to be a correlation there, my friend.
Now, lots of things go into this. As if Charlie was here, he's the one who brought up this stat. It's what made me look it up after last night. But he would, correlation, causation, all that nonsense that I don't totally understand. Yeah. But now, listen, a lot of that is with Cam York, but some of it without. He helps you win. And it's kind of just, it's not even about how good Andre is. It's the way everyone slots in.
Sure.
Like, Rasmus Ristolainen, very good, useful player. He looked great on the top pair with Travis Sanheim. Is he a top pair defenseman? Not without Travis Sanheim. On the second pair with Andre, looks great. I don't know, he's been playing well, but if you have Risto in your top 4, you might not have 4 good defensemen. But with Andre there, it all kind of slots in the way it did last year, where you have York and Sanheim up top. Not tonight. I assume it's going to be Andre and Risto, or Sanheim and Risto maybe, and we'll see how it all... Oh, we do have lines. There we go. So it's Sealer, Risto, Sanheim, Drysdale, Andre, Zamula.
Wait.
What
Sealer,
the hell?
Risto is the top?
Maybe that's just what he's... Okay, I'm just gonna go. That's Charlie looked up in line rushes, and that's who was. Sure, that's who was out there. That's interesting.
That's not what I would have gone with. That's for sure.
When I see these combinations,
I'm also not the coach, so
yeah, that's
I'm not remotely qualified to be an NHL coach.
Torts knows what he's doing, more or less.
In theory.
When I see these combinations, though, I am prepared for Sanheim to play about 28 minutes, and that's just if this is a regulation game. And yeah, he's skating with Drysdale in warmups, and they'll probably start together. But Sanheim is going to have 4 partners tonight. Sanheim is going to be Wilt Chamberlain tonight. He's just going to be with everybody.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down there. I'm into it.
That's what I'm guessing is going to happen in this one. But you do get Andre back in, and that's, I think, good. If for nothing else than the power play. Now, I thought that's where he kind of struggled the most leading up to his scratch.
Yeah.
And I thought, listen, right before he got scratched, he got rocked by Olivier in that Columbus game. Absolutely crushed. And we've been talking since last year. One of the things he needs to do is protect himself better. Maybe that was what they told him to, like, watch other guys and how they get out of the way sometimes. You can take a hit to make a play, but if you don't have to, don't.
Just curl into a ball like a turtle and, accept your fate.
I also wondered, like, if he was just hurt, banged up, whatever after that. But Charlie told me that he was practicing in a regular jersey, not the non-contact. So,
but remember, this is the National Hockey League where guys don't like to admit pain, faults, flaws, any of that. They
not allowed.
Will go through an entire playoff run and then get 16 surgeries done afterwards.
Was it RJ Umberger the one year in Columbus where it was like they show the body and it's like in every area there was some sort of injury, like from the top of his head to his feet.
That sounds right.
He had it's the NHL.
Wayne
That's
Simmons,
the way it goes.
Every playoff run and be like, Wayne Simmons had 16 surgeries. I don't know why 16 is going to my mind. Maybe Clark.
He needed to be brought back to life at one point.
right, exactly. But these guys, like, if they are hurt, they're not going to admit it. Like, it was the same thing with Couturier last year. When Couturier got scratched, like, we all, like, the logical people knew that most of that was because he needed a break. He was coming off of back surgery, for God's sake. He hadn't played a full NHL season in like 2 years. So Couturier was a guy who was beat up. He needed a break. And for some reason, Torts can't just say, guy needs a break. No, that's just not the hockey. That's not the National Hockey League.
He actually made a point to say he's healthy and he's a healthy scratch.
Yes.
And then after the season, he gets a surgery. It's like, you could have just told us he's banged up.
He's never been healthier.
He's never been healthier.
He's a picture of health right now. He's just a bum.
My one question about the Cam York scratch, he's from Anaheim. The Flyers have tonight's game. They have Saturday at home against Columbus. Monday is Festivus. They're in Pittsburgh. And then after the Christmas break, they're in Anaheim, Saturday the 28th. Heroes, Glenn Mills, come on out for the watch party. I don't think York's going to miss 4 straight games. But as you just said, he doesn't like to sit dudes one game.
He doesn't like to sit dudes. York should not sit for 4 games.
No.
That's
4
insanity.
is insane.
It's
4
insanity.
is insane. He's your second best defenseman, and it isn't close.
I thought 3 was pushing it for Andre in the first place. But at least Andre was a guy who didn't make the club outright, so you could justify that. 4 for York is nuts. But
4 is nuts.
Remember Travis Sanheim in Calgary. When he's trying, poor Santa.
Brink in Minnesota, Frost in Toronto.
I bought tickets for my entire family, and then Torts scratched me anyway.
This is clearly part of the coach's repertoire. Yeah. Let's say he only misses tonight. He's back in for a game or 2, and he's still not very good.
The man likes to teach lessons, Bill.
Should we be prepared for this story ahead of time?
I am prepared for it.
It's over a week away. We have like 10 days before that Anaheim game. Should we be preparing ourselves for Cam York, healthy scratch in his hometown?
Like, you've heard of energy vampires. Torts is like a chaos vampire where he feeds off the chaos. So, like, all this chaos, like, he lives for it. Like, he's soaking it in. He loves the discourse around it. He's probably listening right now like, yes, give it. Yes, very good.
And we've heard this from so many different platforms over the last couple of years. There are organizations like Buffalo, for instance, and like it's almost unfair to point to them because they're just so bad.
Oh, I don't think you can ever stop dragging Buffalo.
Their organizational philosophy, like all these young guys, let's give them the big contracts. They'll not think about it. They're signed. You're our core. Go get them. And like, oh, it didn't work. Maybe not the best philosophy. But their philosophy is dudes are comfortable. The Flyers like to put their players in uncomfortable positions. Like, it's just, listen, you're going to be a Philadelphia athlete. You know what you're going to be a lot? Uncomfortable. Did you win the cup? Then everyone's mad. Like, so you're going to be in uncomfortable situations, and they sometimes create them or at least don't shy away from them. I'm just saying it's a few games away. I do not expect Cam York to miss 4 straight, but his hometown game is coming up, and he hasn't been playing well. That's all I'm saying. Prepare for it.
I'm very prepared for it. And man, that's a great point about the discomfort because Philadelphia is an uncomfortable. You could be the greatest athlete in the history of the city, like Michael Jack Schmidt over there, right? And Mike Schmidt had maybe the worst time of any star Philadelphia athlete of all time.
When I was working elsewhere in town, the Eagles were basically undefeated going to the Super Bowl. And the morning show every day was discussing firing the defensive coordinator.
Every day.
They never lost.
No.
And they like led the league in sacks.
I mean, right?
It's just kind of the way it was. And the city's changed a bit, especially with platforms like this getting more of a boost. But we are still Philly. You're going to be uncomfortable here. And they kind of train their players to deal with that. I think it's one of the big reasons a member of that morning show now runs the team.
Like, that's wild.
He's prepared. Yeah.
I forget that sometimes. And it's like, oh, yeah, that is the case.
Yeah. He was a national broadcaster and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But like, He's taking
the
limos.
national broadcaster part.
Yeah.
I forget that he was a key member of the local sports morning show.
He's
for
taking
years
after like late games where he was working nationally. He's like taking limos from Connecticut or wherever the studio is to Philly to be there for the morning show.
There's a man helping to plan huge wing eating competition.
This is
in charge of.
This is all just to say, like, they're comfortable making their players uncomfortable sometimes.
And that's how it should be. Matvei Michkov, get ready for discomfort for your entire career. Don't get me wrong. We all adore you. We think you're the best. But at the same time, you're eventually going to get some crap from these people. Okay, so be prepared.
I had one guy in my mentions, was 2 games ago when Konechny has the slam dunk and somehow Michkov's stick is in the way. One guy who's just like, what the hell's he doing? I'm like,
send him back to Russia.
I don't know.
I can't with this guy.
I can't find it within me to criticize the only player I've been excited about since Shane Gostisbehere.
A 20-year-old that's nearly at a point per game pace.
A non-English speaking immigrant who is
just
adjusting
came in
to a whole new life.
He's in guys' faces, talking trash in a language he doesn't understand.
Punching dudes in the face.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's understood Flyers hockey. He understood the assignment within a week.
He gets off the plane and he's wearing a Phillies hat. Like
that.
Come on.
See,
he gets it.
That's why you get Keith Jones.
That's why
in
he's
that
here.
position.
Yeah.
Because Keith Jones probably showed up and he's like, "You're gonna wear this and everybody's gonna love you, kid."
This is the dumbest thing imaginable. You have no idea how much it matters.
Oh, Bryce Harper has pandered since day one.
We need to get him. We need to get him some gritty skates.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
I'm in on that 1,000%.
All right, and that brings us to our bet segment. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Speaking of Michkov, 3 straight games without a point. That ties his longest streak of the season.
Gotta do better, kid. Come on.
I think it is a boost to the power play to be getting Emil Andre back. I like him. It's -125. It's not a high reward there, but I think for a guy who's basically at a point a game pace, a little under it right now, 1 point, it's not crazy for the dude who produces more than anyone but Travis Konechny on this team.
One might even say he's due.
I would say that. Yeah. I would absolutely say it. And this gets an assist from Steve. Owen Tippett over half a point, +128. First of all, we know how streaky he is. We know how big a part of his game confidence is. He scores a beautiful goal last night. Deke's a defender. Deke's the goalie. Tucks it home. Real nice. And only 5 career games against LA. 2 goals, 3 assists. 5 points, point a game. We're looking for something here. I didn't bet him to score a goal because that's gone very poorly for us this season.
We're not doing that.
But at plus money for 1 point from, again, one of your highest producing offensive players, I will take the plus money every time. Give me Owen Tippett. Those are our bets for tonight, brought to you by Bet365. This is the PHLY pregame show presented by Coors Light. And that brings us to our LA Kings, the old Flyers West. One guy, I guess, left. Trevor Lewis is still there, I believe, as well.
Yeah, but it's not like it used to be. It's not Mike Richards, Jeff Carter, Simone Gagne, and then a laundry list of other guys.
Justin Williams. Yeah, they're all gone.
They're all gone. But Anze Kopitar remains.
The Kings are real good. Once again, 7-2-1 in their last 10. And Anze Kopitar still leading the way. 8 goals, 35 points in 31 games. He's still freaking good, man. It's
disgusting.
Just wish that this is what we could have been getting out of Sean Couture. Like, this is how I hoped it would go. Kopitar's 37, I believe, still producing over a point a game. Last 2 years, top 5 in Selke voting. He's just a stud. But what else can you say about that dude?
He's unbelievable, and he's looked exhausted for years, and he's been...
His face is just like a dude who's been up all night. That's what he looks like.
100% looks like that. But he has produced. I mean, he's one of the best two-way forwards in the game. He's been that way for, I think, a decade plus at this point.
My whole life, it feels like.
My whole life. It has been 80 years. But yeah, Kopitar is still just amazing. And this team's got a nice, like, young support cast. Like, I remember I bet on them to win that division like as a dark horse a couple of years ago, and I was like 2 years too early, I feel like, because they have a good chance. I mean, they're in the thick of it right now. Vegas has been juggling for years with this roster, and don't get me wrong, it's worked for them, but the Kings have been more of a simmer, right?
Yes.
They've been building up with...
They were on the cover of Future Watch for the Hockey News like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like it was, hey, they're going to be one of these good young teams, and maybe that's the bridge from Kopitar and Doughty. It's like, nah, they're still there. Doughty's hurt, but he'll be back at some point, and Kopitar's here like over a point a game, and now they have these young players. And it is a good look at, I know the Flyers a little different. They haven't picked at the top of the draft as often as the Kings did, but like it's nice to have that support system of the veterans so there's someone to steady the ship when you have, oh yeah, man, like Emil Andre. He ain't an everyday NHL player yet. He's still a project. We're bringing him along. Yeah. We have Travis Sanheim. Like it is a good look at how it can kind of work the Flyers way, even though it's not an apples-to-apples rebuild compare.
It really is. I hadn't even thought about that before we started talking about it, but it really is like the model for what the Flyers can be in a couple years, you know, with a couple smart moves from Danny Breeze over there. Come on, my guy, let's do it.
Hey, roster freeze tonight. We heard they've been talking. Just saying. Crossing my fingers on Byfield. Charlie,
I'm into it.
If it's anyone, I think it'll be Turcotte. Yeah. But you can always hope.
You can always hope.
Yeah. Something I find very funny about the Kings right now. 3 straight years they've gone down in the playoffs to the Edmonton Oilers. Right now, they're 2-3 in the Pacific. They would be lined up to play again. And it's like, this is what the NHL wanted. Like, oh, we'll have...
I hate this playoff format. I hate it so much.
We'll have rivalries in there. But, like, if I'm the second... Like, so I have to play the team that finished third in my division. I have 110 points, and I have to play a team with 108. Like, this that sucks. But it's what the NHL kind of wanted in terms of building these rivalries. And, like, you look ahead, and we all know how the standings work. Like, it's almost Christmas. Could be how it works out. Now, Edmonton's on fire. They might like switch who gets home ice or whatever, but probably how it's going to be because that's the way it goes in the NHL.
The NHL loves rivalries, Bill. What I'm obsessed with actually with the Kings is their trade with the Capitals in the preseason or in the offseason with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Darcy Kemper, because that's one that when that happened, everybody was like, well, that's a disaster for both teams. Yeah. What is this? It's actually been really good for both teams.
Yeah, Kemper has been surprisingly good this year. 7-2-4. I think he's got a 9-12, 232. Like, again, when you look at the league average being at 900 save percentage, and this dude is 12, 15 points ahead of that, like, he has been really good for them. And maybe you look at, like, oh, Cam Talbot, like, killed it for them last year. Maybe they, you know, you do have Andrei Kopitar. You do have a team that just doesn't give up a ton of goals. I'm sure it's goalie friendly.
Yeah.
But it's, oh, yeah, it was a, you know, you're trash for my garbage. We both just kind of went out of these contracts. And it worked.
Change of scenery.
It worked. A nice little change of scenery. It worked, at least for the time being. Darcy Kemper kind of killing it for the LA Kings. I believe that's who we're going to see in net for them tonight. Last I checked.
That's what I saw. And Pierre-Luc Dubois has actually been solid for the Capitals. So a rare actual like win-win trade right there.
Yeah, it's funny how these things can kind of work out when people just get into the situation they want to be in. This is what the Flyers need to take advantage of. These guys who maybe not like, you know, reclamation projects, but like second chance, change of scenery. That's what I'm hoping they can take advantage of. And who knows, a few hours till the roster freeze, maybe after tonight's game and post game, we're talking about a trade.
I would love that. That would be a great post game right there. Who is the Flyers' Zach Bond? That's what I want to know.
Who is the Flyers' Zach
Go
Bond?
Birds.
Maybe we'll talk about that in post game. That is all the time we have for you on the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or to find a store near you. Make sure you're subscribed right here on our YouTube page so you see us for post game. No watch along tonight, fam. Sorry to disappoint you all. Just pre and post, but we'll be here for post game. Charlie will join us from the Wells Fargo Center, so we'll get his thoughts on the game and all the post game comments from the press conferences and whatnot. So make sure you're signed up right here on the YouTube page. Hit that reminder bell so you never miss us live. Yeah, that's it. My name's Bill Matz. That's Steve Jaco. Until post-game, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.